Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Restricted Republic. My name is Justice Knight. Today, filling in for Lisa Haven. Can't thank you enough for being here. Lisa asked me to do this report to give you an update on everything that's happening in the Durham investigation. Now, we had a shocking fundamental shift over the last couple days that I don't know if everyone's aware of, because Durham has now gone 180 degrees and fully shifted his focus on what appears to be Biden. I know. And who caused all this? Is it possible that the mastermind herself has put a cog in the wheel that has changed the direction of the entire machine? I'm going to go through a quick history and then why things developing now can very well undermine the entire administration done by none other than, that's right, Crooked Hillary herself. Now, before we go any further, if you haven't subscribed to Lisa, the button is just below. Please check on it. Or if you haven't subscribed to my channel, Lisa will put a link just above. Click on it, take a few minutes. It means the world to me. Republic.com. Let's get back to this broadcast.
At a time when our nation is deeply and dangerously divided. I know many of us hoped that defeating Trump would start to heal our divisions. I certainly did. That maybe, just maybe, the madness would break.
That's a very confident Hillary Clinton with all that broke in the Durham investigation this week. As she said, I know many of us hoped that defeating Trump would start to heal our divisions, but who caused those divisions is the real question. We could go backwards in history, many of you knowing this story, so I'm going to rocket through it very quickly. British spies were first to spot Trump team's link with Russia. That's right, going back to the Steele dossier. Christopher Steele, to be more specific. In this dossier itself, which was again proven completely fraudulent. Although initially BuzzFeed and many others, these reports allege Trump has deep ties to Russia. The documents have circulated for months and acquired a kind of legendary status among journalists, lawmakers, and intelligence officials who have seen them. But we found out later, of course, and in this New York Times opinion piece, one of those outlying, having to backtrack, how did so much of the media get the Steele dossier so wrong? Because they wanted it to be right. That was the goal. They accomplished their goal. They disrupted the Trump presidency. That memo soon to become known as the Steele dossier, when a former British intelligence officer named Christopher Steele was publicly identified as its author, would inspire a slew of juicy and often thinly sourced articles and commentaries about Mr. Trump and Russia, and that was the intention. Now it's been largely discredited by 2 federal investigations, but the damage was already done, as we have seen. But then they went after the Alpha Bank scandal, of course. Emails show researchers who alleged Trump links to Russian Alpha Bank were anti-Trump. Well, the entire movement's been anti-Trump and anti-America. Was there a connection between a Russian bank and a Trump campaign? The initial articles painting a grim picture. This on Slate, a group of computer scientists believed the Trump server was communicating with a Russian bank. Later also found out to be completely false. Do the effing Alpha Bank secret comms story. It's a hugely important fusion. GPS's Peter Frisch pushed a media contact in the final weeks before the November 16th general election. This email questioning the validity of the information. The Reuters news agency questioning it. The problem with the Alpha Bank story at this point is that my cyber expert colleagues cannot satisfy themselves about the authenticity of some of the key data. Later on, the FBI disproving that also. In a series of things being disproven. But who is creating all this? Who's the mastermind behind it? Well, Durham hints at this in his indictments. But before we get there, we can't forget about the Robert Mueller investigation into Trump. Here's how much it actually cost taxpayers. I love this dispute. This just goes to tell you the nonsensical nature of everything. Trump said that it was a $40 million investigation. According to Mueller's expense reports filed through September 30th of 2018, the Russian investigation had cost $25 million. Assuming the costs incurred by the investigation stay roughly at the same pace, it would probably total in like $32 to $35 million. They're actually calling out Trump about a difference between $40 million and $35 million. Distraction, distraction, distraction. But now enter in Durham. Put into place during the Trump administration, going ahead and investigating the origins of all of this, and he starts with his indictments. This one, the indictment of Michael Sussman, who's now, of course, questioning the indictment. Durham destroys that within seconds. Michael Sussman, that's right. member of Perkins Coie. Boy, everything comes full circle, doesn't it? Don't forget the main players in this story. Specifically, according to the indictment, Sussman lied about the capacity in which he provided the allegations to the FBI, with Sussman falsely stating he was not doing his work on the aforementioned allegations for any client. In fact, though, the indictment charged Sussman was acting on behalf of a U.S. technology industry executive at a U.S. internet company, later identified as Rodney Joff in the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. That was just indictment number one of many, many revelations. This on the Federalist, 6 new revelations from the John Durham probe. We're not going to go through them all because there's so much more to come. In fact, Sussman represents only the third individual charged as a result of the Durham probe when this article was written. In August of 2020, FBI lawyer Kevin Klein-Smith pleaded guilty to altering an email to push forward the FISA surveillance application against Carter Page. On November 4, 2021, Durham charged Igor Danchenko, Christopher Steele's primary subsource, with 5 counts of lying to the FBI, but the story, again, continues on.
A bombshell, a genuine bombshell in court filings from the special prosecutor John Durham looking into the Russia hoax. Tech executive number 1 and his associates exploited internet traffic pertaining to Trump Tower, the Trump apartment building in New York City, and also the executive office of the President of the United States.
No bigger story has been heard, but the mainstream media is silent on it. Kash Patel, if you haven't heard of him, worked with Devin Nunes to discredit all this. And what did he have to say about the entire thing? This story is the biggest political scandal and criminal scandal in U.S. history. John Durham has interviewed 24 people in the grand jury, to include CIA case officers, FBI agents, and directors, leadership in the Clinton campaign cycle, and they've indicted her lawyer. So this is just starting. It's how you build a criminal conspiracy case, which we're going to get into the end of this very quickly here. And they're not going to be able to ignore indictments once they start coming in. Durham knows that he had to accelerate the investigation before it's shut down by Merrick Garland. Now the indictments come in fast and furious, although the timing can be suspect. Now Kash Patel believes he's going to deliver. This guy is unraveling the biggest criminal conspiracy against a sitting president in United States history. I want to stop here for a moment. And I personally, and you know, this would be very challenging to ever get up to Hillary Clinton's level, but was that the intention from the beginning? John Durham releasing this latest indictment the day before the Super Bowl, shelving it, hiding it in many ways. It was never going to come to light, but that's what we have to deal with in this account. So was this target Hillary Clinton to begin with? Well, John Durham again makes a 180 in this recent indictment in many ways. Yes, still tying much of it to the Hillary Clinton campaign organization. However, something else surfaces. But we can't forget, again, remember way back when John Brennan, account to the Congress, as confirmed by the British paper The Guardian, the British began framing the narrative. That's where we started. Perkins Coie, the attorneys for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign and the Democratic National Committee, took over coordination of one side of the British campaign beginning in early 2016. Painting Donald Trump as a Manchurian candidate, a pawn of Vladimir Putin. But who is truly the pawn of Vladimir Putin? Sussman case rolls forward. Durham's focused on the false claim, shot by Sussman to the FBI General Counsel James Baker, that a server at Trump Tower was directly connected to Alpha Bank, all diffused, but keeping Russia at the forefront, redirecting attention between Russia and Trump, but that is not what is surfacing to be the true connection. The Mueller investigation was just to continue the campaign against Trump, to keep Russia at the forefront, the misdirection narrative, but somebody was planting pawns throughout this entire process, wasn't she? By the time Mueller launched his witch hunt, the British had already covered their tracks, submitting a report to the Trump National Security Team discounting Christopher Steele as unstable and unreliable former employee. Steele was amply compensated, however, to continue his investigations, funded by Soros and Silicon Valley billionaire donors. But we'll dismiss that for a moment. Most important part of this screenshot is preserving the hatred of Russia necessary to sustain their place in the Washington establishment. They said that this proves that Russia really did intervene in 2016 elections through Hillary Clinton. And now the story takes a different shape beyond Igor Danchenko's indictment. One of the main sources of the Trump-Russia info turned out to be a Hillary Clinton advisor. Oh, everything circles back. All the pawns in place nearly perfectly. Included in Durham's indictment is the admission from a top DNC operative, a source for many of the lies into Steele's bogus dossier, that Danchenko was probably a Russian intelligence operative with the Kremlin. And what'd the FBI do? Covered it up and went after Trump. The establishment maintained control. The Danchenko indictment was out. It should have been bad, but it fell on deaf ears.
So a shocking revelation from Special Counsel John Durham's investigation into the Trump-Russia hoax today. A new legal filing claims Hillary Clinton's campaign paid tech workers to infiltrate Trump Tower and White House servers in an attempt to link the former president to Russia.
That is the most recent indictment. More information coming out. Explosive allegations, as they stated, protect Durham probe from being shut down. The first thing I wondered when I read the filing is the closer this thing zeroes in on Jake Sullivan. Oh, how many of you recognize that name? Working within the Biden administration, advising on Afghanistan, now providing information on Ukraine and what's happening over there as they retarget date after date after date. I think the mark for this administration will depend on how high this goes up. If Durham takes on Jake Sullivan, that's going directly into the Biden administration. Oh, wait now. Wait now. That's not what the mainstream media is reporting on. That's not even sometimes what the conservative media is reporting on. They're just simply focused on Hillary, but Hillary has everybody misdirected. Somehow she turned this entire investigation against not only Trump, but Biden. Now, doesn't it make sense that they're trying to find a distraction of their own, the Biden administration? Tomorrow there'll be war. Maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's next week, maybe it's next month, but let's go back to Jake Sullivan for one moment.
We arrived at the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia, and Jennifer Palmieri, who was the campaign's communications director, and I went to each of the major networks, all 5 of them, and went from network to network. And we rode in a golf cart from tent to tent, and we spent an hour with each of the networks laying out our view that this was a Russian intelligence operation.
Wait now. Jake Sullivan already admitted to spreading the disinformation? That's not being covered in mainstream media either. You see how easy this story actually is if you were really being provided truth and really represented by anyone who actually gave a care. But they don't. But the chess master appears to now have a new target and has redirected Durham to go ahead and do her dirty work for her. FEC records, Biden campaign had firm at the center of Trump's scandal on payroll. Wait, now what is this? Well, this was broke by the Washington Free Beacon. Biden had firm at center of Trump hacking scandal on campaign payroll. Can't miss that one. The Biden campaign paid nearly $20,000 to a cybersecurity firm at the center of Special Counsel John Durham's investigation into the origins of the Trump-Russia probe. The campaign paid Nurstar Information Services in 2020 for accounting and compliance work, according to Federal Election Commission records. According to Durham, their chief technological officer, Rodney Joff, back in the news again, accessed sensitive web traffic data that the company maintained on behalf of the White House Executive Office in order to collect derogatory information on Donald Trump. Joff alleged provided the information to Hillary Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman. I'm just sewing it up for you now. Who in turn gave it to the CIA during a meeting in February 2017. Durham charged Sussman in September with lying to the FBI about his investigation of Trump, but it goes further. According to Durham, Clinton campaign lawyers told campaign officials, including Jake Sullivan, about the Alpha Bank claims. Sullivan later joined the Biden campaign and currently served as National Security Advisor. Oh, that pawn was moved into place perfectly, wasn't it? His wife is counselor to Attorney General Merrick Garland. Yeah, it's all interconnected. I'll put up a few links to some other videos here that you can click on and watch for more information. There is a ton of it. The Biden campaign payments raised questions about whether Joff continued snooping on Trump in the most recent election. Uh-oh. The Biden and Clinton campaigns are the only 2 presidential committees to have ever paid Nurstar, according to the Federal Election Commission record. And she has done this job flawlessly, hasn't she now? She destroyed the reputation of Trump. And now, her newest target, she got Durham to turn 180 degrees and look directly into the administration, because the only way he can find safety from the administration is to indict the administration. Before his investigation, the rug is pulled out from underneath him. Brilliant, isn't it? When you know the facts and the details, you see how deceptive the storylines actually are, but nobody else will report that to you, but we will here at restrictedrepublic.com. Now, before we go, Lisa wanted me to give a shout out to her sponsor, BioTrust. Go to ketowithlisa.com. Secure your supply of Keto Elevate up to 51% off today. Again, ketowithlisa.com. Increasing ketone levels in your body, in turn supporting boosted metabolism, elevated energy, and enhanced mental focus. And to keep up with these stories, that's exactly what you need, because they will do everything they can to distract you and hide the actual information. But we work day and night to sort it out, to help it make sense, and provide it to you in a consumable, timely format. And we can't thank you enough for tuning in to watch exactly that. So until next time, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Again, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Hope you subscribe to Lisa's. We love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.